Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about palindromes. Fun stuff, right? Not really. Um, so yeah, I'm just going to do a video about palindromes because this is another one of these, questions that you get asked on LeetCode and in Google interviews. Um, if you don't know what a palindrome is, first of all, um, once I went to an interview before I knew what a palindrome was. So I'll just show you what a palindrome is. So it's like, the famous example is race car, okay? Because if you look at the word, it's like the same letters this way, it's the same letters this way. So it's like race car reversed is still race car. Okay, so usually the question is like, detect palindrome, and they give you a string, and you have to basically return true or false. Is it a palindrome or is it not a palindrome? Okay. So basically there's a few different things that you can do to, figure this out. But, we're going to use recursion kind of like the last example, but, this time the recursion is going to be a little bit simpler to follow, I think. So I'll kind of show you how that works. So suppose we have to log a result first of all so I can see what this is doing. So we pass in race car. This is going to be our palindrome. And I'm going to do that. Okay, so now let me bring up, I'll just return true for now. I'll bring up the terminal. Shit, that's the wrong thing. Bring up the terminal, make it big so you can see node palindrome. Okay, so it's logging out true now, so that's cool. We just have a function set up. Okay, so like before, we're going to start with a base case, okay? So in this case, the base case is going to be if string.length is less than or equal to 1, okay? And we're going to return true, okay? Because if we take a look at this shitty drawing tool again, I don't want to upgrade to this. Why would I pay for something like this, man? Okay, so here's the last thing we did. But let's sketch out the palindrome, okay? So we've got R-A-C-E-C-A-R, okay? It's reversed. So if you think about each letter in a palindrome, okay, we're going to call this function recursively, okay? And we're going to start calling it from the outside, okay? So we're going to call this function with these two letters, okay? And then if they're the same, we're going to recursively call the function again, but with just this part, okay? So the next recursive level will be, oops, you weren't supposed to see that, that's for later. But the next recursive level will be this, okay? And check if this A and the A is the same, then we're going to call the recursive function again, and then we're going to compare C to C. And if that's the same, then we're going to get to the end finally, okay? So again, you got to think about the end point. You got to think about where does this recursive function end, okay? Because if you're doing recursion, like, it's just going to go forever unless you have some kind of base case. So this is the base case, is the string is 1 or less. I don't really know how it could get to less, but we're just going to have that there for now. So if the string length is 1, basically, then that means we've made it to the center of the string, and so we know that it's a palindrome. So that's why we're going to return yes in this case, or true. in Objective-C world with the yes and no booleans. That language sucks. Okay, moving on. Basically, now we have to compare the letters themselves, right? Because if it's not the center, obviously we're going to have to start somewhere. So let's say we start at the outside. We have to compare the first and the last character of the string, okay? I'm a little bit hyped because I had a lot of coffee today. But basically, I don't think this is too clearly explained a lot of times, because you see stuff like, you know, I, or like, oh, I minus 1, and like, it's just kind of like, this is the kind of stuff that they put on LeetCode, okay? It's just kind of hard to understand, so I'm going to make two functions just to kind of show you how this works. And it's going to be first, which takes a string, okay? And basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the 0th character of the string, which would be like this, you know? And so basically this is just going to be S0, okay? So this first gets the first character of a given string, okay? Again, I know this isn't really totally required, but I just like to demonstrate how it works. Okay, so for last, this would be the last character. So how do we get the last character? Well, we can do string.length minus 1, and that will give us the index of the last string here. By the way, I'm trying to make this as sort of beginner friendly as possible, but this is not a beginner video, okay? So if you want like an intro to programming, let me know that as well, because you're not going to get this on your first try, trust me. Yeah, that sounded kind of cocky, actually. I mean, you might, I'm going to try to be encouraging here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the first string of this string, the first character of this string, and we're going to say if it's not equal to, so this is how you do that in JavaScript, it's a not equal comparison, to the last string, okay? And if it's not equal, so, which is to say, hey, if we start here, we get this character is not equal to this character, that's it. We don't need to go any further because it's not a palindrome. We know that. But if it is equal, then it's going to keep going, and that's what we're going to do in a second. Okay, so I'll show you how that works. But if these are not equal, there's no need to go any further. We know it's not a palindrome, so I'm going to return false. Okay. Now we get to the next level of recursion again. So this is going to be our recursion function. So what we have to do is now, like if these are the same, say it's RR, we now need to go to the next level. So we need to run the same function again, just with this string. Okay, we need to take a substring of this string. Okay, so pretend that this R and this R got chopped off, and then it was just ASCII, something like that, some weird. But we basically just need to run the function again with this string, okay? And if these are not equal, then it's going to return false, of course, and it won't go any further. But if these are equal, then it's going to run the recursive function again, and so forth. So how we're going to do that is we're going to return the same palindrome function, which is detect palindrome, and we're going to pass in a string here, which is, like I mentioned, it's going to be a substring. So you run this one first. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start here and end here. So we're going to chop off the beginning and the end of the string. So how we're going to do that is by passing in the original string, But instead, we're going to use a substring, like I said. So this is going to chop off the beginning and the end. We're going to start at index 1, okay, because this is index 0. So this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3, so forth. So we're going to start at index 1, okay? And then we are going to go to basically the last thing. And I actually don't know if substring is 0 based in index end number. Okay, so yeah. Basically, there's another function in JavaScript called substr, okay, which uses a length property. Okay, so this is the right one. So we're going to start at 1, and we're going to go string.length -1, okay? And so now what you can see is if we run this function, you can see it's returning true for the race car string. Now let's, enter something that's not a palindrome, like race cap or something. Now it returns false because that is not a palindrome, okay? So gape, not a palindrome. What about gag? That is a palindrome. Nice. All right, now, obviously we didn't really build anything. So, in usual Gabe the Coder style, we are going to turn this into a React app. Okay, so we've got just make some room here. I repurposed the other component that we made in the last video, okay, and we're gonna basically turn this into a fully functioning web app demo thing. So gonna go ahead and add a palindrome.js util, okay. This is gonna be the lamest app ever, man. So I'll go back here, I'll copy my code. Forgot how to use a Mac here. Alright, so there's that. I'm gonna export my module of detect palindrome. Okay, so then we'll go back to the palindrome component and let's make sure that we've got it here. Yo, enter your coordinates, Steve. That was from the last video, so we're gonna have to change that. Say, yo, enter your stupid palindrome. Okay. No. Okay, cool. So there it is. Now, we got this input. So I'll say palindrome here. Okay, so there it is. I don't really think we need a button to calculate if it's a palindrome. I think we can just do this with typing, okay? Because we can have an on change, kind of like last time where we said update data, but this time I guess I'll just say update because it's not really doing much. Stupid app, man. So I don't need the calculate function, and I'll just say const value equals e.target.value. Okay, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this string actually and say update equals, I guess I'll just copy this and make like default. Default is a reserved word. So default string is going to be this. Default string. Okay, and the update is going to be, I'll show you a little trick here. It's probably not really that impressive because everybody knows this, but we're going to basically say if the value.length, so which is to say if somebody is typed in the, okay, got an error already, but somebody has typed in the value of the text field, we will set it to whatever the palindrome is. So, well, I guess we need two of these, right? Because we need a detected equals, have to change this to the palindrome value. So if the value is a palindrome, we're going to say value is indeed a palindrome. Otherwise, we're going to say value is not a palindrome. This is kind of like the hot dog app, the not hot dog and hot dog, but basically I'm just going to say if the value is length, I'm going to say detected, otherwise default string. Okay, then I'm going to set the message to the update here, and now we can see yo entered your stupid palindrome here. So I could say race cap. Okay, race cap is not a palindrome. Race car is indeed a palindrome. Okay, so you can see how that works. Updates in real time. And I think we have proceeded to make the shittiest app ever. But like, that's the thing. I mean, it's been, how long has it been? It's been like 15, 20 minutes or so. I mean, I could have like built a whole feature in an app in this amount of time. I mean, honestly. But yeah, this is a lame app. Okay. Also, oh yeah, I think there's another kind of like thing here that like you can get the like longest palindrome inside of a string. So that might be a better example as well to do, because it's like a harder question, I guess. And that one has some time efficiency stuff too. So let me know if you want to see that as well. Or if you want us to just keep making these stupid palindromes. Oh, you know what? P is indeed a palindrome. I don't know if like one character counts as a palindrome. So we might want to add like a case for that in the palindrome util. So if you wanted to do that, by the way, what you would do is you would like add a default value like self equals false or something. And then you would say like if self, then you would return true, otherwise you would return false, right? Because basically if the length is 1, if the length is exactly 1, and you call the function from outside, right, then the then we should return false because it's it doesn't count or something. I really don't know if one character counts technically as a palindrome, but like if you wanted to do it that way, that like that's how you could do it, and then you could just switch this recursive function to have another argument in for the default value. Okay, so That's how you do that. But, Johnny, that's going to conclude our stupid, stupid algorithm leak code video for today, and we will catch you later.